Hello everybody, Play-Doh here, and today we are going to be looking at seal scaling in Elden Ring. This is a follow-up to my staff scaling video, and I know a lot of people requested this, so here it is, and I hope you guys enjoy. One thing I did want to note is that for our hybrid seals we're going to be taking a look at today, there's currently a bug with healing and weapon buff incantations where it will only scale with faith. So that means even if you are using a seal that scales with, for example, arcane and faith, for healing and weapon buff incantations, only the faith scaling will apply. And just like our sorcery scaling video, we have the keys to the right. Anything in pink and purple is going to be hybrid scaling. Anything with green is going to be good scaling. Anything that isn't highlighted just has average scaling, and anything highlighted in dark gray has poor scaling. Starting out with our first seal, it is the finger seal. Now this is the seal you get if you choose Confessor as a starting role, and you can also purchase this finger seal, I believe, at the Twin Maiden Husk. Now for a starting seal when it's fully upgraded, remember guys, everything we're talking about here is fully upgraded to plus 25 and plus 10 respectively, it is a pretty darn good seal with really good scaling. The only downside it has is that it does not provide bonuses to any incantations whatsoever. Moving to our second seal, it is going to be the Godslayer Seal, which provides bonuses to the Godskin Apostle incantations by 10%. These incantations include the Black Flame Blade, the Black Flame Ritual, Black Flame's Protection, as well as Scouring Black Flame. Now, if you guys want more information on this seal and any other seal, you can see that there is a link associated with it. Go ahead and click that link for additional details that you may be interested in, such as where to find the seal, as well as other additional information. And full links down in the description where you can go ahead and access this spreadsheet yourself. Similarly to the finger seal, it has really good scaling, but provides those bonuses to the Godskin Apostle incantation. So if I had a choice between the finger seal and the Godslayer seal, you would definitely want to just choose the Godslayer seal because it does scale slightly higher and provides those bonuses. Our third seal, we're going to take a look at the Giant Seal, which provides bonuses to the Fire Giant incantations and the Fire Monk incantations for 20% additional damage. These incantations include Burn O Flame, Flame of the Fell God, Flame Fall Upon Them, and Giant's Flame Take Thee for the Fire Giant incantations, and for the Monk incantations, these include the O Flame, Surge O Flame, and Whirl O Flame. Amazing names, by the way. One interesting note is that since these are all flame spells, you actually do less damage with fire incantations when it is raining as far as your weather goes in game. The seal has pretty average scaling, but if you do want those bonuses to those Fire Giant incantations and Fire Monk incantations, this is going to be the seal for you. For our fourth seal, we are taking a look at the Gravel Stone Seal, which gives us bonuses to Dragon Cult incantations by 15%. And an interesting thing about this seal is that you can go ahead and equip one in your offhand and receive an additional 15% damage bonuses to your Dragon Cult incantations. The level for the offhand seal does not matter as long as one of them has been upgraded to 25 and it's the one you're using for casting. You can just go ahead and equip that other one in your offhand for that additional buff. Dragon Cult incantations include Ancient Dragon's Lightning Spear, Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike, Dragon Bolt Blessing, Electrify Ornament, Honed Bolt, Lightning Spear, and Lightning Strike. This seal has good scaling from 60 to 70 faith, and it's pretty average afterwards. But if you really wanted to do a faith build that revolves around the Dragon Cult incantations and want to take advantage of that additional bonus if you wield two seals, this is definitely the seal for you. So one thing that I have not been able to confirm is if this bonus applies to other seals as well. Now we'll get to the Dragon Communion Seal in a little bit, but I know that if you go ahead and dual wield the Dragon Communion Seal, just like with the Gravel Stone Seal, you actually are able to stack the passive bonus. With that said, I am unsure if this passive bonus also applies to the Godslayer Seal, the Giant Seal, the Clawmark Seal, the Golden Order Seal, or the Frenzied Flame Seal, because I do not have an additional one of those for my own personal testing. So if any of you guys in the comment section down below know if this is stackable with your own testing, please let me know. That being said, we're also going to touch on stacking seals a little bit more in detail when we get to the Erdtree Seal, but this will be in a different manner. The fifth seal we are going to be looking at now is the Clawmark Seal, which is going to be also the first hybrid seal that we counter. This one scales with Strength and Faith. A quick reminder about the hybrid seals is remember that you need to have equal points into the attributes in order to get the scaling you're seeing on the top. So to get that 264 scaling, you're going to need 40 points into both Strength and Faith. Same thing applies to 60, both 60 points into Strength and Faith to get that 296 scaling, and so on and so forth. This seal provides bonus to Bestial incantations by 10%, and those include Stone of Gorenk, pronunciation check there, Gorenk's Beast Claw, Bestial Constitution, Bestial Sling, and Bestial Vitality. The seal has good scaling from 40 to 70 Strength and Faith, One additional bonus to this seal is that if you go ahead and two-hand the seal, this will actually go ahead and increase your strength scaling, because two-handing multiplies effective strength by about 1.5. Now this only applies for this seal, so don't go ahead and start two-handing other seals. This seal also gets a stacking buff with the dagger Cinquetta. So if you want to go ahead and take advantage of this seal with the Cinquetta dagger as well, you can get upwards up to 20% more damage to bestial incantations. And just like our hybrid staffs, if we go ahead and focus on only one attribute that the hybrid seal here scales off of, the scaling is really poor, so I do not recommend. For number 6, we have the Golden Order Seal, which is another hybrid seal that scales off of intelligence and faith. As you can see here, the scaling for this seal is actually really good. Reminds me of the Prince of Death staff on the sorcery side of things, where if you have enough points to invest into both intelligence and faith, the incantation scaling is really good. It's going to be one of the best seals for late game. However, although it is going to be one of the best seals for late game, there is another seal that is just as good, but even better if we're talking about the amount of incantations we'll have to our disposal. We'll get to that one in just a bit. But for the Golden Order Seal, this one is going to go ahead and buff our Golden Order incantations, which includes the Law of Regression, Radagon's Rings of Light, Discuss of Light, Immutable Shield, Law of Casualty, Litany of Proper Death, Order Healing, Order's Blade, and Triple Rings of Light. In my opinion, this is the go-to seal for mages that have invested their time in the Prince of Death staff, where you go ahead and invest your points into 80 intelligence and 80 faith, spoiler alert for the final mage build update I suppose, and if you also want to do some incantations on the side, this one scales really well with the attributes you're already investing as a mage. As usual, if you go ahead and only focus on one of these attributes, as this is another hybrid seal, this scaling is very poor, so again, I do not recommend. Taking a look at seal number 7, we have the Erdtree Seal, which on paper is the best in terms of scaling for a pure faith build. While it does have good scaling from 70 faith to 80 faith, you can see that when we get all the way to 99 faith, it's just about as good as any other seal that scales with faith. However, if you are a fan of dual wielding seals and you really want that maximum damage output, the Erdtree Seal is going to be a really good option. Now earlier, we talked about dual wielding the Gravelstone Seal. So you can have one on your main hand and one on your offhand and receive double the passive damage bonus to Dragon Cult incantations. Now in a similar way, the Erdtree Seal will do the same because of its higher scaling for faith at 70 and 80. For example, let's say you have 80 faith. You can use the Godslayer Seal on your offhand to receive bonus damage for the Godskin Apostle incantations. And if you go ahead and cast one of those incantations with your Erdtree Seal in your main hand, you'll be doing more damage because of the higher faith scaling while still benefiting from the passive damage bonus. Now for another example, if you don't have two Gravelstone Seals, you can go ahead and equip the Erdtree Seal in your main hand, put the Gravelstone Seal in your offhand, and still receive a significant damage bonus to your Dragon Cult incantations. Hopefully that made sense, and if you have any additional questions, of course, leave them in the comment section below. Looking at seal number 8, we have the Dragon Communion Seal, which scales with Arcane and Faith. This seal provides bonuses to Dragon Communion incantations by 15%. Now, as mentioned earlier, if you have an additional Dragon Communion Seal, you can go ahead and dual wield them to gain an additional 15% damage bonus to your incantations. As you can see here, this has really good scaling with Arcane and Faith, pretty much matching the Golden Order Seal. Now, when we were talking about the Golden Order Seal, I mentioned that there was another seal that I would personally prefer if you were doing an incantation build, and it's going to be the Dragon Communion Seal. Now, the Dragon Communion incantations include the Dragon Claw, Dragon Fire, Dragon Ice, Dragon Maw, Borealis Mist, Agil's Flame, Ezekiel's Decay, Glintstone Breath, Greyrol's Roar, Smaragd's Glintstone Breath, and Rotten Breath. One thing to note, and I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, Placidusax's Ruins is not considered a dragon incantation, so it does not get a buff from this seal. Now, I firmly believe for the late game, this is going to be the best seal option for you, and please correct me if I'm incorrect in the comment section down below. Because of the scaling being pretty much identical to the Golden Order Seal, just off by a few scaling points in each intervals, and the fact that it's going to provide you with arguably the best incantations in the game with the Dragon Communion incantations, makes it a really damn good choice for the late game. Now, something different that we're going to find with the Dragon Communion Seal here is that even though it is a hybrid with Arcane and Faith, it actually has a higher scaling with Arcane, and if we look at just the Arcane scaling, so if we were just to dump points only into Arcane, The scaling is not bad and surprisingly really good from 45 to 60. And if we move forward and take a look at only the faith scaling, you can see that it's on par, very negligible, so definitely do not recommend this if you're going for a faith only build. Now I want to give you guys an example of how to really min-max your build using the Dragon Communion Seal as an example if you want to stay within the 125 to 150 mark with your levels. Now I'll have a link to this calculator made by Tarnished Spreadsheet in the link down below, and it's also available in the spreadsheet as a link as well. Now for starters, the base stats you're seeing here is typical if you were to start with the starting class Confessor. Now the Dragon Communion Seal we're taking a look at here is upgraded to level 10, and as you can see, at level 10 it has a B scaling in Faith and an S scaling in Arcane. Now to begin, the highest requirement for Faith for an incantation that scales with our Dragon Communion Seal with the bonus damage that the Dragon Communion Seal applies is 23. So if you notice, the second we went ahead and updated our Faith to 23, you saw that our incantation scaling also went up to 143. The next step is we're going to go ahead and take our Arcane to its soft cap at 45. When we went ahead and did that, you can see that our incantation scaling now jumped all the way up to 299. So you may be asking, why are we stopping at 45 in Arcane? Now remember guys, this is an example for those of you that like to stay around the 125 to 150 in your levels, so you only have so many points to work with, and after 45 in Arcane, the diminishing returns are pretty poor. So if you take a look at the top right where our level is, you can see that we are now at level 55. And you're probably now wondering, Plato, why are you even showing us this? Well, if we're not familiar with our soft caps, link down in the description below of my soft cap video, by the way, very informative. And if we're not aware of the scaling that a certain seal or staff provides, and in this example, B tier in Faith, S tier in Arcane, I can see an instance where people dump unnecessary points into Faith and maybe not enough points into Arcane, and that'll result, especially for levels focusing around 125 to 150, precious points in levels that you'll need to really min-max your build. Did you see what I just did? We now have 37 points into Faith and 36 points into Arcane, while we still have the same incantation scaling of 299. Did you see that our level went up to 60? So we actually had to invest 5 more additional points to reach the same incantation scaling because our points in Faith and Arcane are all over the place. Now I'm not saying this means you need to stop at 45 Arcane or only put 23 points into Faith to really min-max. This is just an example that I provided to show you that you can unnecessarily waste your points and it's better not to. Now, keep in mind that you're also going to have gear available to you and talismans available to you that will also increase an attribute that you're interested in. For example, the Silver Tier Mask adds +8 to your Arcane. Marika's Sword Seal adds 5 points to Mind, Intelligence, Faith, and Arcane, which is really good for a build focused around the Dragon Communion Seal. So to proceed with this example, let me go ahead and put something together and then come back to you guys in just a moment. So if you take a look at the quick allocation points I went ahead and made for a build revolving around the Dragon Communion Seal, this is probably what it would look like. Now, if you're wondering why we have 153 in our level, it's because I'm taking into account Marika's Sword Seal as well as the Silver Tier Mask because it provides us with the points in Arcane as well as the 5 points into Intelligence, Faith, Arcane, and Mind. That's why our Intelligence is at 14 without putting any points into it, and that's why we're able to put Faith at 40, Arcane at 60, and Mind at 30. Now, that being said, just don't go ahead and blindly copy this because you may not have the strength requirement or the dex requirement to equip a weapon you want. I just randomly put points into strength and dex and then kind of even out the points everywhere else to make them look nice and pretty. This probably isn't going to be the best min-maxing you can possibly do for a certain build like this, but I would say it's pretty dang close. And let's say you need more dex, like for example 25 dex or like 25 strength, for example, you can go ahead and take points off of maybe vigor and a little points off of faith to compensate. Alright, class is over and we're going to head over to the final seal, which is the Frenzied Flame Seal, which is another hybrid which scales off of strength, dex, intelligence, and faith. This applies bonuses to the Frenzied Flame incantations by 20%, and those include the Frenzied Burst, Howl of Sharibiri, the Flame of Frenzy, and Unendurable Frenzy. Fuck Madness, by the way. When I was doing the story, I died so many times to that Madness Tower and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. As you can see here, it has really good scaling at the cost of needing to allocate each point into each one of those scaling attributes. So to get an incantation scaling of 305, you need to invest 40 points into strength, dexterity, intelligence, and faith. And of course, that's going to apply to 60, 70, 80, and 99 as well. Now, I'm not going to sit here like I know of a build that will be able to utilize this perfectly, so I'm not going to spend too much more time on it. If you guys know of a build that utilizes the Frenzied Flame Seal, please let me know in the comments down below. However, if you are going to go ahead and focus on a Frenzied Flame build, the 20% bonus it applies for its incantations is very huge. If we go ahead and take a look at just the scaling, if we're focusing on either strength, dex, or intelligence, just like with all hybrids, it's very bad, so I do not recommend. And if we go ahead and take a look at the scaling for faith only, while it does scale higher with faith, I would not recommend this seal if you're going for a pure faith build, because there are a lot better options like we've discussed earlier. I hope you guys learned a lot from this one as well. Please make sure to check out the sorcery scaling video. I'll have it linked down in the description below, as well as the soft cap video. I'll have that linked in the description below. And please go ahead and take a look at this calculator, and I'll have that linked in the description below as well. If I went ahead and made any errors or misspoke in explaining all of this, because this was a lot, please also let me know and correct me in the comments down below. And as usual, until the next one, peace.